call this March 7th work session to order. Roll call, please.
District 1, Mr. Devlin.
Present.
District 2, Mr. Bennell.
Present.
3, Mr. Miller. Present. District 4, Mr. Levin.
Present. Quorum has been established. We'll have our invocation by Mr. Porter and our pledge of allegiance by Mr. Miller.
Lord God, our Father, we're blessed to be here. We're so thankful for the spring weather, the rejuvenation of your earth. We pray that we'll also be rejuvenated in spirit as we see the flowers bloom and the clouds clear away. So God, we're thankful for that. We're thankful for all that are gathered here together and all the families that are represented. We pray you'll continue to watch over us and guide us and direct us. Be with our country, God, in this time, a critical time as we elect leaders to minister over our government. We pray you'll be with them and they'll make good decisions, and we'll inquire into their motives and their backgrounds. So God, we pray for all these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have before us our agenda for this meeting. Is there any changes before we proceed? Revenue Commission asked that we combine line item number 2 and 4 together. So we'll go 1 and 3 and then do 2 and 4 together. That's okay. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Make it motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion second to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Public comments from citizens. We have 3 people signed up, and we'll go ahead and get started with that. And you guys are welcome to stay after you speak for the whole meeting, or once you get done, if you want to excuse yourself. Either way is fine with us. The first one up is Mr. Jim Helms.
Of course, I think everybody knows we got the program business down the park. We've got a problem down there that Carl and I have been seeing get worse the last, I've been in here 2 years. I'm about to start my 3rd year. It's the swim dock. And I know that on the new master plan, you're showing that is it going away. I had talked to Mr. Miller a week or 2 ago, and I've got an idea. I got some things that I wish I would consider. One thing is that swim dock is a major liability. It's just waiting for the worst thing to happen. Last year it was pretty bad. We had a lot of undesirables coming from out of town and who knows where, and ganging up down there, and there was a few fights and a lot of loud music and just misbehavior, and we called the police a few times, but this past year it was even worse, considerably worse. And I know I use college kids down there to run that boat rental operation, and I called the police a few times myself, and they called them themselves, and I know Carl Barnes called them, and what they were doing last year, and I guess it'll be the same this year, they'll come around there, and there's a picnic table right there pretty close to the swim dock, and one or two of them will stand up on that picnic table. They can see across the hill there, and the police car tops the hill, and boom, they're in their car, and he's out of there. And I mean, it's a magnet for that kind of undesirable. You know, the type people we've got coming there now, it's totally different what it was a few years ago. That thing is just a major accident waiting for the worst thing to happen, a shooting or a serious fight or somebody drowning, and just on and on and on. But that the fishing pier that we've got down there, the existing fishing pier, is adequate for just a few people, but there's no place for the elderly or the mom and daddies to sit, you know, with grandkids or kids when we go out there on the fishing pier and fish. And you know, when people come to County Park, they want a picnic, have a picnic lunch, and fish. And that's just, you know, human nature. Well, we got to looking at that swim dock, and that thing structurally is good. The first level is huge. It's probably twice as big as this room, David. The floor on it is all intact, and then the next level down there, it's half as big, and there's already railing around a lot of it, that thing, it would be real easy to go ahead and put the rail all the way around the dock out there. Be huge, perfect, nice place for people to bring their kids and to fish, and then cover those decks out there. Stick-built roof over them, and put tables. That upper deck would, and that, all of that flooring is salvageable with very little, 2 or 3 coatings of this deck over. This will tell you more about that, but it'll fill up a crack 1/4 of an inch deep. I mean, I've got it on my dock where I live, and it's just amazing stuff. I mean, the floor looks bad now when you walk out on it, but like I said, structurally it's solid. There's room for probably a dozen picnic tables, at least 8 or 10 on the upper deck, and then it could step down, and there's room for, you know, if you want to leave some of that uncovered. But it's just an ideal place for our citizens to go and enjoy, you know, taking their kids and letting them fish, and they're sitting there because not all the grandparents want to fish, but they want to be there with their kids, certainly. Right now, over at the existing fishing dock, we don't even have a place for them to sit other than a picnic table. It's you know, a ways away, but they, other than that, if there's 5 or 6 people out there on it, there's not room for anybody else to fish. When people come to the park now to fish, all they can do is go down there at the edge of the water and let their kids stumble over the riprap and throw out there and fish. And I think it'd be a perfect scenario to one, do away with that big liability. That's just not a matter of if, it's going to happen. And it wouldn't cost a lot to do that, and that would be in keeping with all of this remodeling and everything that you're going to do at the park. Make it nicer for especially our own citizens to enjoy, but people that's coming from out of town too. It would get rid of this, give us a perfect opportunity to get rid of all these undesirables before the worst thing does happen. It's something I wish you guys would consider. Now, I know on the master plan you've got drawn in another dock with wet slips, and I know we've been talking about that for a few years now. Carl and I went down there 3 years ago, and I took my boat. We brought a guy in, and we measured all the depth and the distance and everything from inside the harbor, and they did a complete report on it. And at the time, we were full, especially on the A dock. Of course, B dock, you know, we've got some undesirables that I don't know where that's going, but anyway, now we're losing occupancy, and I I think it would be, I mean, and this is not just in Scottsboro, Alabama. This is all over the country. I mean, it's, and I've been in and out of hundreds of marinas, well, a couple of hundred of marinas for almost 20 years now. So
Are you attributing our occupancy rate going down due to some of the
some of the undesirables that we've got there, and I want to say this right now, this man over here does a fantastic job. I've been working with him for years, and he's got some situations that it's hard for him to do anything about it. One of them is the agreement, and I've got a copy of it, and also Goosebond has just totally redone theirs, and I brought a copy of it. I thought I'd give it to Mr. Porter if y'all want me to. This agreement that we've got, that Carl has to go by, they don't have any teeth in it, guys. It don't even address undesirable boats. It don't address the fact that, like, if I go and say, Mr. Barnes, can I drag an old boat in here and live on it? It don't have, the motor won't run. He ain't got nothing in here to turn me down. This thing is, it's obsolete, and it's just not, it puts him in a bad situation because we've got some boats in there that people have been there for years and years, and it's just a matter of, when they sink, because they're going to sink, and it's hard for Carl to do anything about it. We've all got compassion. I feel sorry for some of these people that live on these old boats, but it's bad for the park. It's bad for our image. And but anyway, I'm more than happy to help with that and give you guys my opinion. Like I said, I've been in every marina in 3 states here in the last 18 years, and I see the trend, and there's a lot of reasons that the big boating is going down. It's just, I don't think it'll ever come back like it once was. And as these old boats age out and sink, and we have to get them out of the lake. We used to, maybe starting 10 years ago, we were able to successfully get folks that didn't have anything but liability to turn in a claim, and we'd get everybody involved, and we would force their insurance company, because they ain't got nothing but liability. I mean, that's all this requires, is liability. Well, liability typically don't pay to raise your boat if it sinks. But we've been able to work it in a way to where we prove to them that it was a big liability and a potential 10 times worse if it gets the marina on fire. And we've been able to get these insurance companies to pay to get these boats out of the lake. But they've got wise to that. And now, you call them up and say, well, we got a boat sunk, and man, he got nothing but liability, and they don't, they don't just jump on it like they used to. But anyway, this swim dock is, it could seriously be a place that turned into a place that we'd all be proud of. All of our citizens, could get some really good use out of it. And we'd get rid of this undesirable mess. That's gonna happen. And I know it was a lot worse this past summer than it is. Is it all right if I give this to you? Sure. I need to make some copies.
Thank you for
this. Our existing. And thank Mr. Barnes for helping me on this. He gave me because, of course, I've had a boat at Goose Pond and County Park where I paid for a slip for 25 years, and I don't have a slip down there now, but I kind of know, you know, how some people take advantage of that. If this agreement don't have teeth in it, you know. We got an old boat down there now that they was trying to bring from the dock around to the transit dock with a trolling motor. And it got around the end of the dock, and the wind got it, and people got off of it some way. Well, it loaded across the lake, and it's washed up on the rocks, and it's laying over on its side now.
That's over behind fire department number 3, right in that area.
Yeah, and it's, I've talked to the owner, it's a Miller guy that's got another boat in B dock, and he's still carrying the insurance on it, ain't got nothing but liability. You can't buy nothing but liability on these old boats. The insurance companies will insure them unless you can do an out-of-water survey. And that means it's expensive. You've got to pay to get it out of the water. And then not only do you have to pay for this out-of-water survey, but then they have to do a sea trial where they test it, make sure it's seaworthy. Anyway, back to this other old boat. That old boat, I've been trying everything I can to get it back in the water. I've been over there and looked at it. It's got, the owner says 10, 15 gallons of gas, but it's probably a lot more than that. And I don't think, and when the water comes back up, rocking that thing around, I'm afraid it's going to start leaking up there. And what I plan on doing is get Mike to go over there and look at it with me, and Mike can trigger, you know, a salvage on the thing. And we might be able to force the man's liability to pay to recover it. And again, we might not, but anyway, they're planning on, as far as I know, and Carl can tell you more than I can, but as far as I know, if they do get it back in the water,
you're not bringing it back to the park.
okay. I was glad to hear you say that.
As far as I'm concerned, it's gone from the park right now.
Good.
They think it's slipped, so I don't know what they're gonna do with it.
Good. Because I think they're probably going to just abandon it. After I talked to Miller the other day.
I feel like if it's not our slip, they don't give up their slip, then it should not be none of our concern, my concern.
I'm proud for you. That thing ain't going to be seaworthy to put back on that slip because it's going to sink. And it ain't worth it. There's probably, what, 8 or 10 in there, Carl, that is the same situation.
I don't know.
But
I'm not going to get into all that. I will get into the swim dock. I think that's a good thing to get rid of it, but I'm not going to get into the marina right now.
Mr. Martin, how many county residents swim there
Very
regularly?
few.
Very few?
Most of them come from DeKalb County in that area.
Really?
Marshall County. But swim dock, there's too much vulgarity going on down there for families to enjoy the swim.
Yes.
So you've got too much mouthing going on down there. Nobody has respect for anybody today. So yes, and I do. I've had to call laws and throw people out and everything else. So yeah, it is a headache. I agree with that 100%.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. Is there anything else, Mr. Helms?
I just wanted to say, David Patrick went down there and looked at it with me, and if he wants to add anything to what I've said as far as it potentially being just a beautiful addition to the park.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, guys, that's all. I basically echo what they said. If you go down during the summer, it's a rough bunch down there a lot of times. A lot of kids trying to swim down there and whatnot. They'll have people in the bank heckling at them and catcalling and a lot worse than that. And it's a major black eye of a park, in my opinion. Swimming next to a marina is not a good idea to start with. One, if you have boats, because I'm a boater, but if you have leaking sewage, if you have leaking electricity, any of these things can happen in the marina environment, then you know, they're going to be right there, even though they're probably a little upstream. That water doesn't flow really good, but it's just something to think about. And the covered pavilion, or two-step covered pavilion, would be, I think, would just look great down there. It would be highly usable, much more than what it is now. I think originally it was designed to be sun decks, and I don't recall seeing any people sunning on it. I see them just going down to the water, but it is rough. I would not want my kids down there. Hopefully most of them have been raised good enough they don't go down there. So that's basically all I have to say. It's the same thing these guys are saying. It's been a from growing up here, it's probably been a headache, an eyesore for many years. So anyway, something to think about.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick. Thank you, Mr. Helms.
We did have a drowning down there years ago, and that's the reason I think they closed the other pool, everything in the ground pool.
And it would almost take somebody standing there policing them, chaperoning them all day long. You can't do that. Nobody can do that. Can afford it.
You don't want your family to take your grandkids down there to try to fish close to it, I guarantee you. Thanks y'all for listening to me, and if I can help with anything on this, like I said, I've got that business down there, and I just think it would be not necessarily trying to get you to do it for my sake, but for all of our sake, our citizens.
Thank you very much.
I'm through with y'all if you don't.
I want to hang around there.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
I see.